Václav Havel, 1936 to 2011, was a towering figure in 20th-century European history, known both for his literary genius and his political courage. A Czech playwright, essayist, and human rights activist, Havel became the first president of Czechoslovakia, later the Czech Republic, after the fall of communism, embodying the ideals of freedom, democracy, and civic responsibility. His life and work demonstrate the interweaving of art and politics, revealing the profound ways in which culture can challenge oppressive regimes and inspire societal transformation. Early life and literary career. Born in Prague into a well-off family, Havel grew up amid the upheavals of World War II and the subsequent establishment of a communist regime in Czechoslovakia. He studied at the Academy of Performing Arts in Prague and quickly developed a reputation as a gifted playwright. His works, including The Garden Party, 1963, The Memorandum, 1965, and The Increased Difficulty of Concentration, 1968, were characterized by absurdist techniques reminiscent of Beckett and Ionesco, yet distinctly grounded in the socio-political realities of life under communism. Havel's plays often explored the tension between individual authenticity and bureaucratic conformity, portraying characters trapped in absurd systems that mirror the oppressive nature of totalitarian regimes. Through satire, irony, and allegory, he critiqued the hollow rituals, moral compromises, and dehumanizing mechanisms of authoritarian power. While his plays earned acclaim internationally, many were banned in Czechoslovakia, marking the beginning of his complex relationship with the communist state. Dissidence and political activism. The 1970s and 1980s were a period of heightened political repression in Czechoslovakia. Havel emerged as a leading dissident, combining intellectual rigor with moral courage. He co-founded Charter 77, a manifesto that criticized the Czechoslovak government for failing to implement human rights provisions of international agreements, including the Helsinki Accords. Charter 77 was not a political party but a civic initiative advocating for legal accountability, transparency, and the defense of human dignity. Havel's involvement in Charter 77 and other opposition activities led to repeated arrests, imprisonment, and harassment by the secret police. Despite these hardships, he remained steadfast, emphasizing the moral responsibility of individuals to resist injustice. His essays and letters, many written clandestinely, articulate a philosophy of living in truth, a concept that became central to his thought. Havel argued that in totalitarian societies, systems of power depend on collective lies and self-deception. By refusing to participate in these falsehoods, citizens assert their freedom and undermine oppressive structures. The Velvet Revolution. Havel's transition from dissident to statesman occurred during the Velvet Revolution of 1989, a peaceful movement that brought an end to 40 years of communist rule in Czechoslovakia. Popular protests, student demonstrations, and strikes across the country highlighted widespread dissatisfaction with the regime, while international attention provided support and legitimacy to the movement. Havel, as a respected intellectual and moral authority, emerged as a symbol of the revolution. On December 29, 1989, Václav Havel was elected president of Czechoslovakia, an extraordinary achievement for someone who had spent years in prison for his convictions. His election marked not only a political transition but also a cultural and ethical affirmation. A society that had endured decades of coercion now recognized the value of truth, integrity, and civic courage. Presidency and political philosophy. As president, Havel faced immense challenges, including transitioning from a centrally planned economy to a market system, navigating ethnic tensions between Czechs and Slovaks, and redefining the nation's position in the international arena. Despite limited experience in governance, Havel's moral authority and intellectual clarity guided his leadership. He promoted reconciliation, human rights, and democratic institutions, emphasizing the importance of civic engagement and ethical responsibility in public life. Havel's political philosophy continued to reflect his literary and dissident roots. He advocated for responsible freedom, arguing that democracy requires not only legal structures but also moral commitment from citizens and leaders alike. He warned against the dangers of apathy, consumerism, and the erosion of public values, insisting that freedom entails responsibility, solidarity, and respect for human dignity. During his presidency, Havel also pursued international diplomacy with an emphasis on human rights, supporting democratic movements in Eastern Europe and advocating for the integration of Czechoslovakia, and later the Czech Republic, into European and transatlantic structures. He became a respected global statesman, often invited to speak on issues of democracy, civil society, and ethical governance. Literary legacy and philosophical contributions. Havel's literary works remain central to understanding the moral and political currents of late 20th century Eastern Europe. His essays, including The Power of the Powerless, 1978, are considered classics of political thought, blending philosophy, literature, and practical activism. In this seminal essay, Havel examines the ways individuals can resist totalitarian systems by rejecting complicity in lies and embracing authenticity. He argues that even small acts of courage, when multiplied across society, can destabilize oppressive structures and create conditions for meaningful change. Havel's plays, too, continue to resonate, offering timeless insights into human nature, power, and social conformity. Their absurdist framework highlights the contradictions and irrationalities of authoritarian life, yet their ethical and emotional depth affirms human resilience and creativity. Together, his literary and philosophical contributions bridge art and politics, demonstrating the transformative potential of culture in shaping social reality. Challenges and criticisms. Despite his celebrated status, Havel's presidency was not without challenges and criticism. The economic reforms and privatization processes of the early 1990s generated debate, with some arguing that they led to social inequality and dislocation. Additionally, the peaceful dissolution of Czechoslovakia in 1993, which resulted in the creation of the Czech Republic and Slovakia, revealed tensions between national identity and political pragmatism. Critics have also noted that Havel's moralistic approach sometimes clashed with the practicalities of governance, and that his high ethical standards occasionally made political compromises difficult. Nevertheless, these challenges do not diminish the significance of Havel's contributions. He remained committed to democratic principles, ethical leadership, and the cultivation of civic culture, leaving a legacy that extends beyond policy outcomes to the moral and cultural life of the nation. Global influence and recognition. Václav Havel's impact transcended the borders of Czechoslovakia. He received numerous awards, including the U.S. Presidential Medal of Freedom, the Gandhi Peace Prize, and multiple honorary degrees. His life became a model for nonviolent resistance, demonstrating how intellectual engagement, ethical conviction, and public courage can affect profound societal change. Internationally, Havel inspired activists, writers, and politicians who sought to confront authoritarianism, promote human rights, and strengthen civil society. Conclusion. Václav Havel's life embodies the interplay between literature, philosophy, and politics. As a playwright, he illuminated the absurdities of life under totalitarianism. As a dissident, he risked imprisonment for the defense of truth and human dignity, and as a president, he guided a nation through its transition from oppression to democracy. Havel's enduring significance lies not only in his historical achievements but also in the ethical and intellectual framework he offered to the world, the idea that individuals, through truth, courage, and responsibility, can shape the moral and political contours of their society. His legacy continues to resonate in contemporary debates about freedom, democracy, and civic responsibility, serving as a reminder that political power is inseparable from moral integrity. In the story of Václav Havel, we find both a portrait of a particular historical moment and a universal lesson in the human capacity for resilience, creativity, and principled action. His life demonstrates that the pen and the voice are as potent as political office in the struggle for justice, and that authentic leadership arises from the alignment of personal ethics with public service.